sacked him 5 times in achieving not only an upset but a relatively easy win. Now, the two coaches of these teams, John Yoakum of Muhlenberg and Bill Sikuski of Hamburg, both happy with their performances last week. And right now, our Mike Zielinski standing by with them. Let's go down to the field.
Hi, this is Mike Zielinski for Berks Cable and the Reading Eagle Times. I'm with John Yoakum, the Muhlenberg head coach, who's on my right, and Bill Sikuski, the Hamburg head coach, is on my left. Gentlemen, you're both coming off of real big victories last weekend. Bill, I guess you surprised a lot of people, maybe even yourself, really dominating Exeter defensively. Were you surprised?
Yeah, we were surprised, but we knew we were capable of doing it. We knew what we had to get done last week, and we did a real good job of it. The key to Exeter's offense was their quarterback, Sarlott, and our game plan was to stop him, and we did.
John, how's it feel playing Hamburg coming off that big win over Exeter? They really did a good job defensively. They have an experienced line offensively. They have a 3-year starter quarterback. They have a lot of things, a good stable running backs. What do you have to do tonight to be successful?
I said to you last time you had us on TV, you should be a coach, and there's no question about it. Now, we'd spent a week with Hamburg at a passing camp this summer, and we knew that they have a lot of skilled people. And they have a quarterback who can throw the ball, and obviously we've got to prevent that long pass. They like to throw deep, and they got this Sivak and Gerner who just do a great job of catching the ball. They got some big ends in Mosman, number 89, and Walters, 84. Plus, on top of all that, they can really run the ball. And you know, whenever you beat a team like the Eagles from Exeter last week, you know, let's face it, they're coming off a big high. Their kids are going to be sky high, and we're in for a heck of a ball game.
You know, when you play Muhlenberg, Bill, I guess you think of power football. They like to beat you tackle to tackle, and I guess your guys are going to. Last week you had to be concerned with the perimeter. This week, I guess, a little bit more concerned stuffing the inside game.
Yeah, we have to shore it up. They have some big people up front. They have some quality running backs with Murray and Rio in the backfield, and Siders can throw the ball. John moved Sugars to an end position last week, and we sort of look for little tricks from him this week, maybe, see what happens. But they have quality people there and big boys up front, so do the best we can.
Okay, well, good luck to you tonight.
Thanks very much.
And I guess one final question. He mentioned Matt Sugars, a quality back for you. Now a new threat at split end.
Well, after looking at our offense the first couple of weeks, we felt some people just weren't coming through for us at the split end, and we needed to get somebody who we felt was capable of going out there and causing people to worry about him. And it was not a very easy decision to make, because Matt had a heck of a year for us last year at tailback, but Matt is such a good athlete, and with his size and his ability, he does give us that outside threat now. And Kirk Siders, our quarterback, has a lot of confidence in him. We have a lot of confidence in him, so that just gives us one more dimension to our offense.
Okay, well, good luck to you. We should have an interesting ball game tonight. 2 very talented quarterbacks, and Kurt Siders and Joel Brady, and we'll be back after this.
Remax of Reading is a proud sponsor of Berks Cable Scholastic Sports Programming. We're committed to our community and to you. We're working long hours, but our hard work is paying off with more listings than any other realtor in the county. That's important because we know your standards are high, and with an average of 12 years of real estate experience per associate, we can offer new ideas when you're selling your home. Take a step above the crowd with Remax of Reading.
Selection of used cars and trucks. DM Motors. Whose cars are backed by warranties. DM Motors. Who has financing available with affordable monthly payments. DM Motors. Who's located on the Warren Street bypass. DM Motors.
You're with DM Motors, Warren Street bypass, ready.
Back in Laureldale, I'm Randy Stevens along with Mike Zielinski. And Mike, as Hamburg about to take the field, here they come, the Hawks, with a record of 1 win and 2 losses. It's interesting to note here tonight, it actually feels like football season. The weather has changed. It's going to be probably down in the low 50s before this one is over. And it feels kind of good for football players to have this kind of weather.
It certainly does, Randy. Last week in Pottsville, we were kind of splashing on suntan lotion at halftime because it was so balmy. This week, the Christmas of autumn is here, and it feels like football. We should have a very competitive game tonight. Hamburg versus Muhlenberg. Hamburg coming off a huge win over Exeter last week, kind of put this game into more of a pivotal situation for Muhlenberg. Muhlenberg had an easy time with Hamburg last year, winning 34-0. But John Yoakum and the Mules have to be wondering how good is this Hamburg team that had handily defeated Exeter a week ago.
Well, these two teams have met before, 10 times to be exact, and the Mules have defeated the Hawks in 7 of those games. Muhlenberg presents a number of interesting problems for Hamburg. They are much more of a power football team. They like to go from tackle to tackle, and that's going to put a big challenge tonight to the kids on the front lines for the Hamburg Hawks.
You know, the weather does tie in with this game, Randy, because Muhlenberg is a 2-platoon football team. Most of their guys only go one way. Hamburg only has 36 kids on the team, many of whom go both ways. So they have to match up with their power, and it's also going to be a matchup of conditioning, and Hamburg has its work cut out for it on both sides of the ball.
And there you see the Mules of Muhlenberg. Here on Berks Cable, we've already seen the Mules once this season. It was in a game at Governor Mifflin that was won by the Mustangs 21-6, and always an exciting moment as a team takes the field, a lot of adrenaline pumping, and the kids from Muhlenberg probably on paper the favorite here tonight, but you never know. A lot of emotion comes into these games, and as you said, a couple of rivals fresh off their first victory of the season. There you see the coach of the Muhlenberg Mules, that's John Yoakum in his 3rd season, and anytime you're coming off, or is it not?
No, it's
the
not.
Assistants, I guess. Okay. Our apologies to Mr. Yoakum.
And now we ask everyone to rise
a
for the
victory.
playing of our national anthem.
Obviously, a lot of emotion that's connected with that, and both of these teams found their first victory of the year last week.
I think the interesting thing, high school football is a game of emotion. Frankly, Muhlenberg should have won, did win last week against Schuylkill Valley. They're probably not sky high after that victory. Hamburg, conversely, obviously is. They probably never expected to beat Exeter, but they did, and now we'll see how they handle that.
Right now, the playing of our national anthem here in Laureldale. Playing of our national anthem from Laureldale, the Hawks and the Mules getting set to go as we have reached week 4 of a relatively young high school season. And we're getting set, and as we said, for the Hawks, Bill Sikoski in his 10th season, you mentioned, has a lot of players who go both ways. And as a result of that, 7 of the 11 kids on any side of the ball tonight, or either side of the ball, are going to be seeing a lot of two-way duty. That has a tendency to wear you down as the game progresses.
Yes, exactly, which is why the crisp weather will give Hamburg a little bit of help there, because obviously warmer weather would take its toll. What's interesting about this game is Hamburg does have an experienced offensive line. They had some trouble scoring last year. I think they were shut out in 4 games. They're quicker this year. They have an experienced quarterback in Joel Brady who likes to throw in the flat to his backs. They have a good core of running backs. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of offense they can sustain against Muhlenberg, because Muhlenberg figures to go ball control to really eat up the clock, and Hamburg's going to have to stuff Muhlenberg's power game, and handle them. What's interesting about Muhlenberg, as John Yoakum talked about in the pre-game show, is Matt Sugars, who their leading ground gainer a year ago, is now their split end. John likes his chemistry with Kirk Siders, a quarterback they're very high on. Kurt did not have an outstanding game against Mifflin, but he had been much better last week against Schuylkill Valley. So we'll have to look at Siders' progress this season and see how he hooks up with Matt Sugars, his new split end.
Conversely, on the other side, Hamburg's Joel Brady is now a 3-year starter, and Brady on the year, 25 for 57, has thrown for 302 yards, 2 touchdowns. Those 302 yards represent the 3rd best in the county, and you figure before this one is over, Hamburg is going to have to put the ball in the air if they hope to win. Brady, their key man, whereas Siders can pretty much run his offense. It's not really necessary that he throw. We're set for football right here. Hamburg kicking off, and the ball taken up around the 5-yard line. Coming straight back and finally being knocked down at the 35-yard line for Hamburg is Jeff Crick, the sophomore. And that's where the Mules will put it into play. Kirk Siders, the junior quarterback, a man who threw only 3 passes last season, will be in the QB position. They'll have Mel Fegley, number 24, another sophomore behind him. Robert Rio, number 32, also a man who will see considerable duty. And the running back right now, as they set up in the I formation, number 2, Alan Murray. He's only a junior. Murray gets the football. He's got about 2 yards, keeps his legs churning, and finally ends up out around the 40. We'll see where they mark his forward progress. So a rather conservative play, and if Muhlenberg and John Yoakum, who we misidentified earlier, if he has his way, he'd like to see a lot more of that. He'd like to see 4- and 5-yard gains in the middle of that line and play a very conservative offense. By the way, the second effort on the play by Alan Murray got him out to the 40-yard line. It's a pickup of 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Siders wants to throw the football, flips it out, and it is incomplete. Looks like somebody tipped the ball, and the man who may have gotten a hand on it was Jim Gerner, who is featured as not only a defensive back on defense, but also as a halfback and a running back on offense.
Well, you mentioned the first play, Randy, was a little conservative. They got a little bit more liberal in that play, going for the home run ball. We mentioned the switch of Sugars to split end. 2 people who made that transition much more easy for John Yoakum to make are Murray and Fegley, who are 2 fine running backs. So it's nice to have that luxury in the backfield.
3rd down and 6 from the 40-yard line. Siders wants to throw and overthrows the intended receiver. Matt Sugars, who a year ago was the leading ground gainer for Hamburg, gaining 830 yards and scoring 9 touchdowns. And as Mike had said, he had been moved out to split end. The ball was intended for him, simply thrown over his head. It's 4th down.
I think sometimes, Randy, young quarterbacks like Siders, early in the game, the adrenaline's flowing, and sometimes you put a little bit extra mustard on the ball, so to speak. And I think we saw that in the prior 2 patterns.
Jim Gerner.
Now the Mules will have to kick. Jim Gerner, one of the men deep for the Hamburg Hawks. Kind of a short kick by Rohrback. Ball will take a bounce for Muhlenberg, and it rolls just inside the 40-yard line. So Hamburg will have good field position as senior Joel Brady, the quarterback, comes out to start the first offensive series.
To the Hawk 39-yard line will be 1st and 10.
Now the featured performers for the offense, we mentioned Jim Gerner, number 33. He had 2 touchdowns a week ago, a 55-yard punt return for 1 score. And Eric Syvac, number 42. He gained 41 yards and also scored 2 touchdowns. The ball carrier is Syvac. He gets about 4 yards on the pickup. Syvac, a senior. He's not only a pretty good runner,
Eric Syvac on the run.
8 pass receptions for 121 yards on the season. So he's a guy who they feature quite prominently in the offensive scheme.
They love to throw to their backs. They have good backs, and they utilize them with the running game and the passing game.
2nd down and 6, and hitting the hole and crossing the 45-yard line was Shane Weaver.
He's their other running back. They have 3 guys they like to go to, Randy, and Shane Weaver is also a very dependable guy. They don't have a tremendous amount of speed, but they have very durable guys who can have the good quickness to the hole and bang out the tough yardage for you.
Well, a pickup of 2 on the play. It's now 3rd down and 4. They have to get to almost midfield for a first down. And there's a pass that is completed to Eric Syvac. He's still on his feet. And finally, he's dragged down at the 30-yard line. Joel Brady, the lefty, getting it right over the hand of a defensive back from Muhlenberg and right into the waiting hands of Eric Syvac, his 9th reception of the year. And we'll take another look at it.
We mentioned Joel Brady's experience. He throws a perfect pass. The timing on this play is exquisite, and we mentioned Syvac's athletic ability. Well, watch this as Brady just loops the ball, perfect touch, and Syvac shows good speed on this play, and look at that movement to get by the cornerback. Big play for Hamburg.
And you see the extra yardage. Syvac just carried the football, picked up 3 yards. So early on here, Hamburg is mounting a drive. They started just shy of the 40-yard line, and here they are in Muhlenberg territory. The ball at the 27-yard line, 2nd down and 7. Now the Hawks pulled the big upset a week ago. A little bit of a play fake by Brady, being pursued, fires the ball complete. Going to be a little bit shy, I think, of a first down. Catching the ball that time was Shane Weaver. And again, Mike, your point well taken. They like to use their backs out of the backfield to catch the football. And that time Weaver circled around and made the play.
They had very good success a year ago in our telecast against Wyomissing with Brady. They utilized his nice passing touch very well in getting those patterns open in the flat. That can be a dangerous area to throw, but Brady executes those throws well.
This is Gerner, and he's got the first down and more. Has the ball inside the 20-yard line. It'll be first down for the Hawks. Both these teams got off to quick starts in their victory last week. We mentioned that Muhlenberg scored 23 points in the first quarter, and Hamburg did the same. Oh, they didn't score that many, but they did get off to a quick lead, and they were able to just go after the quarterback. They won that game last week 29-10 over Exeter. They're trying to draw first blood here in this game. First down, the ball carrier for a big yardage is Gerner, and he's got a touchdown. Gerner for 18
very
yards.
impressive drive, Randy. He just took it up the middle and exploded and just zipped for the touchdown. Obviously a very impressive opening possession by Hamburg. The momentum from last week certainly has carried on. As we take a look at this Gerner, look at that explosion, breaks into the secondary, and the beauty of that is once you break through and everybody's looking for a short containment, you can break off a big one. And that's exactly what Jim Gerner did for the Hamburg touchdown.
And the extra point is tacked on by Ed Heck, and the Hamburg Hawks have the lead, 7-0 Hamburg, with 7:27 left to play. They just moved 60 yards in a relatively short period of time. For the Hawks, who lost their first 2 games of the season, they are keeping the momentum up from their win last week, 7-0 Hamburg.
Confidence can go a long way in any level of athletics, and I think especially scholastically. They played an excellent game last week. A lot of people didn't expect them to win. A lot of people probably didn't expect them to win tonight, but they've taken their opening possession, and you couldn't ask for a more impressive drive, running, passing, good balance, good mix. I'm very impressed. It should be a very interesting game. Joel Brady, he's even better than he was last year, which is, I guess, what another year of experience can do for you. Now it's time for Muhlenberg a little bit back on its heels to kind of regroup, maintain its poise, and see what they can do offensively.
Well, Brady made a couple of excellent touch passes in that drive. He also got some fine running from Gerner, who scored the 18-yard touchdown. With the football here and breaking it open is Crick. He gets knocked down, though. You know, it's very interesting, Mike. Despite the fact that usually the press box is on the home side, we're actually on the Hamburg side. So if there's cheering on this side of the field, it's actually the visitors. Kind of an odd construction for a stadium. We
That's
also-
true, and now that you're mentioning Hamburg, we should welcome the Hamburg cable TV viewers for tonight's game, as well as the Berks cable viewers.
Hamburg Cable, Channel 62, joining us tonight. Now here comes Muhlenberg, and this is Alan Murray on a run, and he's out near the 35-yard line. So Muhlenberg trying to answer as they try to rev their offense. They trail this game by a score of 7-0.
Alan Murray has good acceleration. He has quickness. He cuts well in the open field. Muhlenberg has a lot of weapons offensively. We didn't see a whole lot of that against Mifflin, but this is a team that is a young team that should gel as the season goes along. And we've had an infraction against Hamburg, Randy. Muhlenberg is picking up additional yardage, a personal foul, 15 yards, and that puts, they're marking it off now, but I believe they're going to be just shy of the 50-yard line on the 48.
Oh,
I'm doing some play-by-play here, I think.
You're doing a good job. Murray had actually picked up the first down on his run and then tack on the personal foul yardage. So good field position for Muhlenberg. They're out at the 48-yard line. And with the ball is Fegley, and he cracks into Hamburg territory and still going. He's going to be very close to the first down. So we said Muhlenberg would like to go tackle to tackle, and that's what they're doing in their power ground game right now, picking up the yardage. By the way, the Mules averaging on the year 158 yards per game.
They'll keep it on the ground if they have to, but they also have the capability of throwing. They have played very well offensively.
This is Alan Murray. Looks like he's got the first down. He'll be very close. He needed to pick up only a yard. And there is an injured Muhlenberg player. Timeout will be called. 6:15 left to play first period. 7-0 Hamburg.
Timeout on the field.
We mentioned they have played well offensively. Mifflin was probably their worst game offensively. The loss to Salisbury, they dominated the game. They had a lot of yardage. Turnovers were the crucial factor of that defeat. Last week against Schuylkill Valley, they were very dominant offensively. On their first possession tonight, their receivers were open, and Sider's passes were just a little bit less velocity. They would have had a couple of big gains. This game so far gives somewhat of a foreshadowing, perhaps, of a very high-scoring affair, because Hamburg, when it had the ball, really dominated the line of scrimmage, and Muhlenberg is doing the same thing when they have the ball. So we could see some fireworks tonight, Randy.
Clock is running, 6:10, third down and a foot for the Mules. Ball at the 42-yard line, and that'll be an easy first down as Matt Sugars moved into the backfield to pick up that first down. He's a senior, 6'2", 185.
I guess he just had the itch for the ball, Randy. They've been running the ball well with the other guys, but if you have a horse, why not use him? And Matt Sugar is obviously one of the better running backs in Berks County last year, and obviously a very versatile player that he can make the transition to split end as well.
It's got to be tough on a kid who was the leading ground gainer in the county coming back to have to move to split end, but they have some excellent backs on this team. This is Sugars again. He bulls his way inside the 35-yard line, picks up about 2. It'll be second down and 8.
We can't seem to keep wide receivers where they belong in our telecast so far this season. In our opener, Matt Skornovaki from Mifflin was hurt early on. Last week, Tony Hardy never played for Reading High because of infection, a staph infection. He was hospitalized. And now we see Matt Sugars taking a couple snaps at split end, and he's back in the backfield.
Well, he's out of the backfield on this play. The quarterback Siders wanting to throw, and he hits Sugars. Sugars inside the 20-yard line. He's going to go. Did he score? Let's see. May have been knocked out of bounds. Inside the 5-yard line, Sugars making the catch and then racing for the corner. And let's see where they spot the football. Boy, Sugars really accelerated after catching the ball that time.
We're going to take a look at this, Randy. Siders makes a nice throw. He rolls out, hits him right in the numbers, and this is where Sugar's experience as a running back comes in handy. He just takes the ball upfield, and let's see, yes, there he goes, right there, about the 2. He dives over the pylon, but it's a little too late. He had stepped out of bounds. Good camera work.
Well, he may have stepped out. looking for a touchdown and getting it. Muhlenberg on the board. Let's see who's at the bottom of that pile scoring the touchdown. Looks like it was Alan Murray going in from 2 yards out, and Muhlenberg now has a chance to tie the game.
At this rate, we're going to get our calculators out to keep track of things here, Randy. Hamburg, a very impressive scoring drive, and now Muhlenberg returns the favor right up the field. A lot of good runs, a big pass and run.
And the extra point is no good as he misses it. A little bit of a knuckleball there. Extra point missed that time by Ken Kime. And that'll keep Hamburg at least momentarily ahead. It's 7-6. The Hawks still ahead.
Yeah, it looked like a knuckleball. As you said, you must have thought you were back doing a Reading Phillies game. It looked good until like the last instant where it seemed to hook off. That is a deflating thing for Muhlenberg, having a very impressive drive, but they're still trailing now by a point after the misplacement. Again, we see evidence special teams, whether it's the NFL, high school, or college, very essential part of the game.
Well, there you see Hamburg out in front, and boy, you're right, these offenses really have barely, well, they haven't been stopped at all. Hamburg was stopping Muhlenberg the first series, but the two offenses have taken over. Hamburg marched 60 yards down the field, and then Muhlenberg returning the favor. And as you said, this has the potential right now to be a track meet, is the way we stand.
I think both offensive coordinators must look like jack-o'-lanterns right now with huge smiles on their face, and the defensive coordinators are probably the two unhappiest guys in the place. So we'll see what transpires here. It could be fun. It's been fun.
This is Kime to kick off, and he booms one fairly deep, taken by one of the up men for Hamburg. That's Jim Gerner. And Gerner gets it back out of right past the 30-yard line. That's where the Hawks will put it in play. They lead the game 7-6 with 4:47 left to play in the first period.
In talking to Bill Sikorsky this week, he mentioned the big factor in their offense this year was added quickness, and he cited the superior quickness exhibited by his line. But his backs tonight, with Gerner, especially in that touchdown run, and Shane Weaver, they have shown some explosiveness, so they're quicker than I anticipated.
And nothing doing that time as making a big hit for the Mules. Coming in there was number 66 for Muhlenberg, and that is Aaron Faison. And he just literally took the feet right out from under Shane Weaver.
Aaron goes 6 foot 230, so he is a load, and he just overpowered the play and snuffed that run. Hamburg on his previous possession really dominated the line of scrimmage. Muhlenberg guys obviously fired up on this possession.
Brady wants to throw, had his arm hit, the ball in and out of the hands of number 42 for the Hamburg Hawks. That's Eric Sivak. Although Brady looked like he was hit just as he tried to deliver that ball, and as a result, the pass is incomplete.
Muhlenberg is going to have a quick pass rush because Brady likes to take a very short drop, three-step drop and unload. He has that quick release. So you're absolutely right, Randy. The key to that play was disrupting his rhythm and getting him before he could set and fire.
3rd down and 11 for Hamburg. Brady wants to go deep, has a man out there, that's Sivak, and it's just off his fingertips. There's a disappointed Sivak on the field. He was wide open, a couple of steps ahead of the nearest defender. The ball just overthrown by a touch.
I don't think you can get any closer than that without completing the pass. It just missed his fingertips. Brady, we talked about, likes to throw in the flat, airs it out there and makes a really nice pass. Sivak shows great speed to get out there, gets a seam in the zone, but Hamburg forced to punt.
So the Muhlenberg defense has stopped Hamburg, and here's a bad snap. Let's see what happens here as they're trying to recover, and down at the 1-yard line. Oh my, what a break. The long snapper is Jason Walters, and we'll take another look. There you see the punter Shane Weaver, he had absolutely no chances. The ball was centered over his head. He went back, thought about picking up the ball and running with it, but finally did all he could just to corral the ball.
He did the right thing, because otherwise you're risking giving up a touchdown, and the snap just sails over his head. We mentioned special teams in the extra point. Well, again, this is another example of that. Jason Walters may be the best athlete on Hamburg's team. Jason Walters probably would be the punter on this team, except for his great ability to snap long on punts and placements. So this is a quality snapper, but obviously everybody makes mistakes, and this was one of them. Muhlenberg with excellent field position.
The ball at the 1 yard line. Siders straight ahead, and he's got a touchdown.
Touchdown for the Mules.
Kurt Siders with a quarterback sneak just tried to find the line and fall into the end zone. And what an enormous break for the Muhlenberg Mules, as the bad snap by Hamburg back to the 1 yard line. Something oddly enough they had a problem with last year. They had several snaps.
They had a lot of trouble with their punting game. It was a big factor in their early season troubles. They did rectify it, and you kind of feel sorry for Jason Walters, who is an outstanding player, outstanding quarterback, all-league tackle last year, switched to tight end this year, one of the leaders on this team. He's 6'4", 200, only 16 years old. He has a bright future in football. I guess if there's an upside to this, he's the type of player with his ability and drive dedication that perhaps can make a difference in this game and atone for that. And special teams breakdowns afflict all teams. Hamburg, last year with the punting game, and now in this particular play, haunted maybe more than most, and that certainly has to be frustrating for Bill Sikorsky. The important thing for Hamburg now is to maintain its composure, forget about it, and focus on the task at hand. But you see Bill Sikorsky on the sideline kicking some dirt around. A little frustrating moment for the Hawks.
Well, they're going to go for 2 points here. How's that for a touchdown drive? One play, 1 yard. Let's see what Siders has in mind here as they try to get the 2-point conversion. He wants to pass for it. Siders now looking for somewhere to run, and he's going to come up short. So the conversion attempt will fail. Nevertheless, with 3:30 left to play here in the first quarter, it's been a wild one. We've had 3 touchdowns, and Muhlenberg leads this game by a score of 12-7.
Kurt Siders there trying to find a receiver on that 2-point conversion. It is difficult when you have a short field like that to find somebody. Sometimes teams, when they're in the red zone or goal line situation, welcome a 5-yard penalty sometimes that gives their receivers a little bit more room to operate. But obviously on an extra point conversion, you do not have that luxury. So here we are at Laureldale. Muhlenberg has forged ahead, capitalizing on a break, taking a 12-7 lead over Hamburg. But Hamburg has shown a lot tonight, Randy, offensively, and it'll be interesting to see if they can climb right back into this ball game. I suspect this will not be the last touchdown of the evening, not what we've seen so far.
May not even be the last touchdown of the quarter, the way this game has evolved. Well, Hamburg scored the first touchdown. Now they're down by a touchdown. And on the run, making a very fine return, is Jim Gerner, as he gets up almost to the 40-yard line. Good return as he found some running room out to the right. Hamburg will put it into play, 1st and 10, 3:23 left to play first quarter. It's 12-7 Muhlenberg.
They've shown a strong ability to mix their running and their passing game, with Brady making those short passes into the flats. I suspect they'll continue to do that.
And a good run once again by Shane Weaver. Some good hard running inside. Weaver getting out to the 45-yard line.
They have run very well inside, and I think that's the key for them tonight. If they can balance that with their perimeter game, with their short passes in the flat and some sweeps, it's going to keep Muhlenberg's defense a little off balance. Hamburg's offensive line doing a real good job opening those holes for their running backs.
2nd down and 3 from the 46-yard line. And getting the football is Weaver once again. This time, though, not a lot of running room.
Weaver on the carry.
You know, Mike, Hamburg has really had their problems. The last 2 years have been down years for Coach Bill Sikorsky and his staff. There you see the coach with the headsets on. They've been 4-7 in each of the last 2 years, and they felt that they had a little more experience this year trying to rebound, and Well, when you get off to a 1-2 start, I guess a little cause for concern.
He was very happy with a lot of things he saw in the second game of the season. Even though it was a loss, they showed a lot of improvement.
Trying to get the first down and apparently getting it out near midfield. Pretty good run that time by number 33, number 42, Eric Syvak, the ball carrier.
Syvak on the carry, first down for the Hawks.
Experience goes a long way, and they learned in that second game. They carried it on to a victory last week against Exeter, a huge victory, as we've already pointed out, and they played very well tonight against a team, Muhlenberg, which is considered one of the contenders for the Berks IC title. Hamburg had not been considered a contender, but right now I'd say Hamburg and Weiser are the surprise of the Berks IC season so far.
Well, certainly Hamburg with that win over Exeter, a bit of a surprise last week. Carrying the ball into Muhlenberg territory, number 42, Eric Syvak. We mentioned Syvak with a big game last week. Only 41 yards, but he scored 2 touchdowns.
And he has some bookend tackles in Ken Heinley and Jeff Mills, who do a very good job at the tackles. They also have a very outstanding guard in Keith Clayhole.
Brady wants to throw, swings it out for Syvak. He breaks a tackle, carries the ball to the 45-yard line.
Pass complete to Syvak.
Appeared he might have lost yardage at first. He was hit initially, broke that tackle, and made a gain of 1 on a play that could conceivably have lost yardage.
As we pointed out in the first scoring drive by Muhlenberg, the advantage of throwing to your backs is they can make a big gain out of a short pass. And this is another example. Throwing to your backs in the flats, what looks like a 3-yard gain or a loss sometimes can turn into an 8 or 10-yard gain just on their running ability.
Stacey Hoke split all the way out to the right. 3rd down and 5 for the Hawks. Brady throwing long down the field, has a man, and incomplete. Jim Gerner, the intended receiver. And once again, he was out beyond the defensive backs. If he makes that catch, it's a touchdown.
That wasn't quite as tantalizing close as the first long pass they threw, but it was almost. I think they're about a total of 4 inches away from 12 more points in this game because Brady has thrown 2 nice balls, just slightly overthrowing his receivers.
21 seconds remain to be played here in the first quarter. Muhlenberg out in front by a score of 12-7. And here comes adventure time for Hamburg as they will go into punt formation. This time a good snap. And the kick very high in the air. Fair catch being called for. Fumbled. And recovering the ball after calling for the catch is Matt Becker. Becker last week had a 45-yard touchdown return on a punt. That time he did well just to fall on the football. Muhlenberg has it once again. They lead this game 12-7 with 13 seconds left to play first quarter.
You mentioned Matt Becker. John Yoakum is extremely high on him. He is only a sophomore. He has a very bright future. Another guy that we should look for, probably going to be a feature back soon for Muhlenberg.
First quarter expire, that's what the whistles are about. So we'll do first down and 10 from the 18 again. 1 quarter in the books. It's been a wild one. At the end of 1, it's Muhlenberg 12 and Hamburg 7. Mike and I will be back right after this.
Quality foods for over 50 years. Located at Walnut and Juniata Streets in West Reading, invites you to cater yourself with these delicacies from their cash and carry store.
Choose from the widest range of marinated steaks available. A unique marinating process assures a deep, rich taste and mouth-watering quality. Carefully selected, incredibly tender USDA choice.
That's Bob White, Quality Foods Cash and Carry Store. Restaurant quality foods at wholesale prices. Walnut and Juniata Streets in West Reading.
When you're faced with a decision to buy another car and you want a quick review of the best options around, the Video Ad Channel is the place to start. For an instant update on the newest buys, just tune in, then choose your style. Classic or classy. Country or cool. If you're looking for convenience, economy, performance, or style, then tune in to the Video Ad Channel on the odd hours on Berks Cable Channel 5.
With Mike Zielinski, I'm Randy Stevens back here on Berks Cable. And again, we welcome all of the viewers on Hamburg Cable, Channel 62. Glad you're with us here tonight. 12-7 the score. They've already run a play here in the second quarter, and a personal foul penalty tacked on as well. The ball carrier is Robert Rio, and he gets out to the 40-yard line, a pickup of 5. It'll be second down and 5.
We're seeing a little bit of a contrast in offenses, too. As we pointed out, Muhlenberg loves to come at you with power. They have some big guys up front. They do a lot of weightlifting throughout the year. Hamburg also has some guys who like to hit the iron. They have some pretty good power lifters. We mentioned Keith Clayhall. He is one of the guys who really likes to bulk up, as well as Ed Amadero, who's probably the best nose guard in the county defensively. Hamburg is going to have to look out for this power game, though. Muhlenberg may be able to dominate them up front. We might have to see a few more blitzes and stunts by Hamburg to throw them off balance.
With the football that time, looked like Robert Rio again. This time not much going, as he gets only about a yard to the 41-yard line. And this will probably set up a passing situation. It'll be third down and 4.
A big factor in their win last week defensively is when they moved Walters and Syvac to the corners. It helped their run support, it helped their pass coverage, and Bill Sikuski said that was crucial in their victory. And tonight they're going to need some more support inside with that power game. But we have double flankers to the right by Muhlenberg.
Sugars and Mulholland out to the right. The pass to Sugars, and he drops the football. There's a classic case of a guy trying to catch the ball but thinking about what he was going to do after. All he has to do is hold on to the ball. He's got an easy first down. And I think what he was thinking was, let's see if I can beat the one remaining guy.
Sure.
And took his eye right off the ball. That hurts.
And it's not even a matter of hearing footsteps, because there were no footsteps around him. He was that open.
Back to punt.
Muhlenberg will be forced to punt. Twin safeties now for Hamburg. And let's see what this is. Penalty flags are down. The punter is Mike Rohrback. And we'll see what the call is. If this penalty is against Hamburg, well, apparently it is not. It is illegal procedure against Muhlenberg. I was going to say if it's against Hamburg, that would give Muhlenberg a first down.
Mm-hmm. Instead, it's now a very obvious passing situation for the Mules. Siders, after those 2 early passes slightly overthrown, has really been throwing well, but it's fourth, and it's not obviously passing. It's an obvious punting situation.
And the kick is away. It is fielded back there by Stacy Hoke, and he is going to be swarmed under. And that time, Robert Rio, the man who made the big hit.
Fielded by Stacy Hoke.
So Hamburg, down by 5 points, will come back onto the field with their offense. Hey, Mike, we've got another great game next week here on Berks Cable, as we'll get a chance to see Wyomissing and Holy Name, 2 teams that a year ago contested for the district championship, a game won by Wyomissing, even though Holy Name had beaten them earlier in the season.
It was a great game when we were there at Governor Mifflin to see it. It was a muddy day, and Wyomissing, a great team last year, and they were a lot of fun to watch.
With the football is Eric Syvac, and he's got a couple of hard-fought yards, a pickup of 2 on the play.
What was fun about Wyomissing last year, Randy, they ran that wing T offense, had a lot of trap blocking, they had a superior execution up front. Hamburg does a lot of wing T also, and I think that is a big reason why they've been able to match up with bigger, stronger Muhlenberg, because you are hitting guys on the blind side. You have to have active guards, and they have a year experience with their line, and I think that's been a big difference in their offense. They're not completely wing T, but they show that look a lot, and it's been effective for them.
Penalty flags go down as the play is whistled dead. We'll check the penalty. Well, the wing T is usually a very effective offense if you're a little bit outmanned in the line, if you're a little bit lesser, for instance, in weight up front. Illegal procedure, by the way, they're calling against Hamburg. And teams that are usually outweighed up front will try that kind of offense.
Ball on the 20.
And what made Wyomissing so good last year, because they had the studs up front, and they also had the finesse, and so they had the best of both worlds, and that's why they were so dominant and explosive.
That figures to be an outstanding game, and we'll have it for you on Berks Cable. Pass over the middle, and it is knocked away.
Joel was a little lucky there, Randy. He kind of threw up a mini Hail Mary, and fortunately for him, it was not picked off. That was their other look. Sometimes Hamburg will go into a slot. They were in the slot in that particular play, and now that was an obvious passing down. This is an extremely passing down, so they'll probably run a draw just to keep us off balance and keep us guessing, but it's third and forever.
Well, the ball was intended for tight end Jason Walters. You know, you would mention what a great athlete Walters is. A year ago, he was used primarily as a tackle, and this season they moved him to tight end along with playing defense. He was a defensive back last week, and the long snapper for punts and kicks, place kicks.
The only drawback in him is he went to school a year early. With one more year, he would be awesome next season.
Yeah, he just turned 16, so he really is a youngster, even though he's a senior. This ball's up for grabs. Anybody can get it, and it is incomplete. Intended for Eric Syvac. There were about 5 blue-shirted Muhlenberg Mules in the area, and Syvac made a great play to almost make a circus catch.
Brady put a little bit too much loft on that ball, Randy, and it was almost like planes circling around an airport waiting for it to come down, and it just enabled the Muhlenberg secondary to group a lot of bodies around the ball. Eric Syvac almost made a great catch, jumped very high, but didn't quite pull it off.
Syvac was playing air controller that time. There's a punting situation. Pretty good punt, driving them back beyond their 50-yard line, and they should have excellent field position. On the return that time, number 12, Jeff Crick, the sophomore.
Returned by number 12, Jeff Crick.
And the ball is in Hamburg territory at the 47-yard line. 8:25 left to play here in the first half, and Muhlenberg leading at 12-7.
John Yoakum is showing, I think, a lot of courage. Obviously, they must be very talented players, because Jeff Crick and Matt Becker are his primary kick returners, both sophomores. Kind of a tough position to put a sophomore in, but both these guys are good, and they've been sure-handed.
Out of the I formation as Muhlenberg operates on first down and 10 with the football that time. Cracking down inside the 45-yard line is Alan Murray. Kind of a strange number for a running back, number 2. Murray is only a junior, as a great many of these Muhlenberg Mules underclassmen. They should have a pretty good club next season.
Murray is 5'11", 185, but he looks a lot smaller out there because of his number. You know, you're expecting to see one of those whiteout gnats, I believe. But,
little scat back.
Yes.
And this should be close to a first down. We'll see exactly where they mark it. Robert Rio, the senior, a man who scored a pair of touchdowns a week ago.
For the Mules.
And in fact, it is a first down. So Muhlenberg's offense, which spotted Hamburg a 7-0 lead before scoring a pair of touchdowns, rolling again.
And they're not rolling, they're rumbling. They're using classic power football, out of the eye, just man on man, body on body, and just up the gut.
The football in the hands of Murray. He jitterbugs and is finally dragged to the turf. On the tackle was Eric Syvac, another one of those two-way performers for Hamburg.
Did a little bit of dancing there. We were seeing classic power football, but he did a little dancing. And who was the guy that had the dance studios? It wasn't Alan Murray.
It's hard to say.
Well, I guess MC Hammer, I guess I'm thinking.
You mean the old-time formal dancing?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of that, too. We'll see if we can get
Or maybe
someone to
our crack
identify it.
crew in the truck will come up with it. But they're probably a little bit more contemporaries of MC Hammer. The Hammers, when they've been going up the middle, that was
Fred Astaire, a little
somebody's
too far
dance
back.
studios. It wasn't Fred Astaire.
Arthur Murray.
Arthur Murray.
There you
See,
go.
I was on the same wavelength.
Okay. We come from that in-between generation, you and I, unfortunately. Well, there's 6:56 left to play in what has been a very eventful first half, as Muhlenberg leading this game 12-7 and driving once again. You know, we talked about the great arsenal that they have. They have a number of running backs. They share the wealth. There isn't one guy who is going to be a 1,000-yard rusher on this team.
Not the way they spread the ball around, and which is good because it gets a lot of people involved. It gives a guy's break. The defense can't focus on one particular individual. It's really an ideal situation for John Yoakum. he has a young team, as you mentioned, Randy. This is a team with a future. I think the program has been established. They're coming off 2 fine seasons. They should be right up there, one of the contenders. This is a very huge game for them, though. They stumble against Hamburg, and it could turn their season around.
2nd down and 4. The ball carrier is Matt Sugars.
Matt Sugars on the carry.
And he's got a yard, maybe 2. It looks like they spotted right at the 30-yard line, so it'll be 3rd down and 3.
That was a big play by Hamburg, stuffing Sugars. Conversely, this is a huge game for Hamburg. They're coming off a big win. If they knock off Muhlenberg tonight, then their season really could take off, and they could have a really fine year, a surprise, I'm sure, for them as well as everybody. They're a gutty team, but they could be a contender.
Here's Murray, and he dances his way down to the 25-yard line.
Murray on the carry.
Couldn't resist that. Well, you're right. If Hamburg pulls the upset here tonight, they really make a statement here in Berks County that they are for real, and this is an important game for them.
To be honest with you, whether they win or lose tonight, I think they are for real, because they've shown a lot of nice things so far, and they can play competitive football with Muhlenberg. Muhlenberg right now, they're kind of rolling with their offense, but they're going to do that to a lot of teams. Muhlenberg's going to have to, Hamburg's going to have to really close ranks here, though, inside.
Well, a quick hitter down to the 22-yard line. Robert Rio, the ball carrier. Well, last week, Hamburg facing one of the better quarterbacks in the area, Rob Sarlett of Exeter. And he really did a job on him. In fact, Sarlett, considered one of the best guys, did not complete a pass until late in the 3rd quarter.
That's amazing. He had such a great year last year. Hamburg did a superb job.
They sacked him 5 times in all. They haven't gotten anywhere close to Siders tonight, who lofts one and completes it. Over here on the right side, catching the ball was Bruce Stroop. We'll take another look at it. Good play action there as he simply rolled out, and Stroop was wide open.
Well, their scheme this week, Hamburg, is not to blitz as much, because Siders is a different type quarterback than Sarla. He's not quite as elusive, but he has some good movement. As we're going to see this previous play, Sarla has a nice touch right in the flat, something that Hamburg's been doing to Muhlenberg, and they just do that to Stroop right there. A nice play by Kurt Siders. So by design, Hamburg can't commit to the blitz with the linebacker. With Muhlenberg's power game, they'd exploit that too much. So they have to play a little bit more straight up, in their 50 defense or their 5-3 front, give you a few different looks. A key ball player in this game is Ed Amadero. We mentioned him before. He is Hamburg's nose guard. He's very quick, very strong, and he's the guy that's going to have to try and somehow clog up the middle, but he can't do it by himself, but he should be a prime force.
There was an illegal shift penalty that wiped out the previous play. Sugars knocked out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. So the previous play did not count as the penalty moved it back, made it 2nd and 11. This play picks up almost, well, we'll say 9 yards. Sugars knocked out of bounds at the 17-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2 now. There you see Sugars, number 41.
I think what makes Muhlenberg so effective, Randy, is they're a power team, but they throw a lot, and they like to throw a lot. They did it a lot with Malinowski, and I suspect they'll do it with Siders for the rest of the year.
Well,
Tough to defend.
Siders had a great week. Here's Murray looking for the 1st down, and did he get it? He may not have. On the tackle was Eric Syvac, who came up from his cornerback spot, and well, it'll be awfully close. And looks like they missed it by about a yard. So Syvac saving what could have been a potential Muhlenberg 1st down. And as a result, it'll set up 4th down and 1 for the Mules. Needless to say, they will go for it. Power formation. Sugars, the ball carrier, looking for the yard, burrowing ahead, and he's got an easy 1st down.
1st down, Mules.
I like the way they're using Matt. They are using him primarily as a split end, as we pointed out, but they're not afraid to put him back there, take advantage of his experience, especially as a power runner. Fegley and Murray, a little bit more speed-type backs than power backs. Rio is a tough guy up the middle, but Sugars has maybe a little bit more speed than Rio, so it's good to mix him up. He's almost like a Keith Byers type now.
Well, it seems whenever they need the tough yard inside, Sugars gets the call. And going in to score a touchdown, number 32, that's Robert Rio. He had 2 last week. He's got 1 here.
He looked pretty quick there. We talked about
14 yards out.
maybe Sugars being a step quicker than Rio, but Rio looked pretty quick going up the middle there. And I was going to take a look at it again, Randy. There's nothing really fancy. Just give it to him. There's some good blocking and a quick burst. And sometimes a burst is almost is better than some great speed at times. And Robert Rio, excellent touchdown run.
We'll go for 2.
Well, the only thing Muhlenberg has been unable to do in this game is to have a conversion successful. They'll try for 2, and now timeout is going to be called. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's 18-7 Muhlenberg.
4:15 left till the half. Muhlenberg leads 18-7.
Reach for TV host.
Call 1-800-526-9554 and save 26 issues, only $17.77.
RE/MAX of Reading is a proud sponsor of Berks Cable Scholastic Sports Programming. We're committed to our community and to you. We're working long hours, but our hard work is paying off with more listings than any other realtor in the county. That's important because we know your standards are high, and with an average of 12 years of real estate experience per associate, we can offer new ideas when you're selling your home. Take a step above the crowd with RE/MAX of Reading.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. It's the 2nd annual Reading Mini Grand Prix. Sunday, September 29th is the date. Downtown Reading is the place. So show your civic pride and join the thousands of others who'll be cheering on their favorite cars. Admission is absolutely free. It's an action-packed day that's fun for the entire family. Don't be left out of the winner's circle. We'll see you at the 2nd annual Reading Mini Grand Prix, Sunday, September 29th.
Here's the 2-point conversion by Muhlenberg. Murray gets the call. Did he get the end zone? No, they say he did not make it. He was very close. For the 3rd successive time, Muhlenberg fails to convert. However, they have scored 3 touchdowns after spotting Hamburg an early lead. It is now 18-7 Muhlenberg.
Muhlenberg still leads
Kind of
Hamburg by the score
gut check time for Hamburg now. They played very well and got off to a fast start. The punt snap kind of turned it around somewhat. Muhlenberg now showing some dominance up front with its offensive line and its power game. Hamburg has come tantalizing close to a couple long touchdown receptions, just missing. Brady has looked good throwing the ball. Perhaps now down a couple touchdowns, we're going to see them go to their backs a little bit more in the flat and try and break off a few big gains. 18-7. There's Randy, about 4 minutes left in the second quarter.
4:15 left to play in the first half, and right now Muhlenberg has the game going their way. Ready to kick off is Ken Kime, and the left footer hits it down. And on the return, it'll be Jim Gerner. He gets out to about the 30-yard line, and for the Hawks, with just over 4 minutes left to play, you would have to think that they would love to get some points on the board on this drive, and they almost have to if they hope to get back in the game.
With their experienced offense, they certainly have the assets to do that. There was a great block on that return. I couldn't catch the note of the guy who threw it, but one of the Muhlenberg guys literally hurtled through the air. So that was a heck of a shot on special teams. So obviously Hamburg still fired up despite the deficit. Let's see what they do.
Well, they keep the ball on the ground and not a whole lot of running room that time. Picking up maybe a yard or two. Shane Weaver, the ball carrier.
Shane Weaver carries.
Joel Brady a year ago passing for 1,252 yards. We mentioned earlier he is 3rd this year in passing yardage in the county. And he's got his work cut out for him. Hamburg led this game 7-0, but Muhlenberg has come back with 3 touchdowns. 2 of them in the first quarter, and the one just a moment ago as Robert Rio went in from 14 yards out. A little bit of a counter play here, and that's not going to pick up a whole lot of yardage. 2 running plays, really not getting much, and coming up holding his elbow is Jim Gerner.
Gerner on the carry.
That's not a good sign for Hamburg because Gerner has been one of their prime players this game, has had some really nice runs. The counter play, which he just ran, often can be very effective, especially in the wing T. It was not that time. And now Hamburg facing a almost must situation in terms of the passing game, 3rd and 7 or 8, whatever. 3rd and a while.
Close enough. Brady wants to throw, fires it high in the air again, has a man down there, and it was intended that time for Eric Sivak. He was covered by number 39, Matt Becker, as once again Brady throwing a jump ball up there, neither man able to come away. It's 4th down. Hamburg has to punt.
Becker was there, and so was Matt Sugars. We've talked about him a lot offensively and his versatility as a split end and a running back, but he is also one of the best defensive backs in the Berks IC. So Muhlenberg with a lot of good people. Brady, again, getting just a little bit too much loft on that long pass.
They punt the ball away. This is a great punt. And it will not be played as it rolls inside the 30 to the 25-yard line down there by Sivak. And with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to play, Muhlenberg will go back on offense. They lead the game 18-7.
That was a very good punt. He really got into it, and Muhlenberg less than ideal field position now, but they have plenty of time. It's a crucial defensive series for Hamburg, obviously. They cannot afford to give up another touchdown in this half. They have to maintain the score and just get back at halftime focus and exploit some things to try and get back in this ball game in the 3rd period.
Rio the up back. Murray gets the pitch, and this time he's going to be nailed. Penalty flags go down in the secondary. And we'll check the flag, see what that's all about. Clock is stopped. 2:01 left to play, first half. Well, they are talking to the Hamburg defense, and apparently it looked like an illegal block, blocking below the waist, and as a result, Hamburg will have to decide whether to take the penalty. The play did not gain any yards, and what do you do here?
I'd take the play. So, of course, they're not. You always ask me this and set me up.
Thanks, Coach.
Speaking of coaching, where's my telestrator you promised me this week?
We're working on it. We may have it by the end of the year. We may also have John Madden by the end of the year to do these broadcasts, Mike.
Well, it's a little tough to compete with him.
Hate to tell you, you'll be a sideline reporter. First down and 25 now, and getting back about 8 of those yards was Robert Rio. Rio, a senior, listed at 6 feet, 200 pounds.
Second down and 12.
It'll be second down and 12, so a pickup of about 8.
I think we're going to basically see Muhlenberg just kind of run out the clock here. I don't think they want to do anything that would risk a turnover and give Hamburg an opportunity to get a quick score.
Yeah, they don't want to make a mistake at all.
So I think they're going to be a little conservative as they throw back the pass.
The coach. And that ball knocked away. Intended for number 41, Sugars. And I'll tell you what, if the defensive back had come up and missed that hit, Sugars might have caught the ball going all the way.
Yes, that was a distinct possibility. Obviously, I'm a little surprised that they did that, but obviously Muhlenberg has enough confidence in what they can do. They've been dictating the tempo offensively and defensively this entire second quarter. And I guess they feel they can have their way with most of what they do, and they're in another spread formation, and they're...
Now this is the draw play, and it'll get a couple of yards back to the original line of scrimmage, and Muhlenberg will be forced to punt with just over a minute left to play here in the first half. Muhlenberg out in front, 18-7. What a difference a week makes. Last week in the 29-10 win over Exeter, Hamburg's defense holding Exeter to just 24 yards of offensive rushing. And boy, Muhlenberg has really had their way with them tonight.
Yes, turnabout. Football is a funny game from week to week, and we've just seen evidence of that.
Punt taken at the 39-yard line, and knocked down at the 47. Number 10, Stacy Hoke. So a return of 8. And now Hamburg with just over a half a minute left to play. Not a lot of time. And the first thing they'll do is they will take time out and talk over what it is they would like to do.
They have not been reluctant to throw the long ball. In fact, we've seen more long ball than anticipated. Last week with Reading and Pottsville, we expected to see Reading throw it. Their game plan changed somewhat with Tony Hardy out and also them being conscious of Pottsville blitzing. Hamburg has shown a propensity for that. I don't think they have anything to lose right now by throwing deep. If it is picked off, it's almost just like a punt. There's only a few seconds to go in the half anyway. Why not take a shot at it? Maybe you can create something, Hail Mary pass or whatever, and get some more points on the board. It's important for them to go in at halftime realizing they played very well for a period. Things kind of got away from them a little bit in the second period, but they have the people, they have the experience offensively where they could get a couple scores here, but they're going to have to somehow defensively shut down Muhlenberg's inside power game. Not an easy task when you have a lot of guys going two ways, and when you have guys like Muhlenberg's Eric Boltz, number 79, who's 6'3", 287, and a big reason why Muhlenberg is so tough with its inside running game.
Well, the real killer in the first half for Hamburg was that bad snap on the punt that set up the second Muhlenberg touchdown. Brady hit as he throws, ball hit into the air, and it's incomplete. Intended for Andy Mosman, a man who has had 6 catches on the season, Mosman a junior. And with 29 seconds left, it'll be second down and 10.
It's very nice size for a receiver, too. A very big target at 6'3", 175.
Now let's see what Brady decides to do. You know the Muhlenberg line will be teeing off. Brady got to the line of scrimmage, saw something he did not like, and asked for timeout. So Muhlenberg burns another, Hamburg burning another timeout. Yeah, you know, it's always funny at the end of a half, you have seen miraculous plays turned in, and obviously if that were to happen, Hamburg would be jubilant going into the locker room, and you've also seen it turn out the other way. I always remember back to one of the Super Bowls where Joe Theismann threw a little pass in the flat. I think it was against the Raiders. And
yes, it was.
It got returned for a touchdown, and it really changes the complexion of the game. And so you play with fire, I suppose, in this situation. There you see Bill Sikorsky in his 10th season at the helm of the Hamburg Hawks.
He is the dean of Berks County coaches, which I didn't realize. I don't think he did either. We were talking on the phone the other night, and I said, well, you've been around there for a long time, Bill. And he said, you know what? I've been here longer than anybody in any team in Berks County, and he has brought a lot of stability to Hamburg. The program had suffered in the early years. It did thrive for a couple years, slid back, but under Sikorsky they've always been competitive, some years better than others obviously, but he's a quality coach and they have a quality program.
Now Brady being pursued, and he's going to fire long, a wounded duck down the field. It'll be intercepted as Matt Sugars picking it off, and Sugars is finally knocked down at the 38-yard line. That pass had very little chance of being completed. First of all, it's hard to throw a 50-yard pass on the run.
Yes, it is, and obviously he didn't have quite the control on his release that he would have desired. It's really no harm that other than maybe messing up your statistics a little bit, because, you know, go for the home run. You're not going to get it all the time, and it's relatively harmless. Muhlenberg's not even going to get a snap off here. Well, he did, but just barely. Maybe they did.
You had to be right once, Mike. So as the gun goes off to end the first half, not only is Mike Zielinski correct, but Muhlenberg leading this game over Hamburg. The score, the Mules 18, the Hawks 7. We'll be back with halftime festivities right after this.
Bob White, quality foods for over 50 years. Located at Walnut and Juliana Streets in West Reading, invites you to cater yourself with these delicacies from their cash and carry store.
A wide range of seafood is now available at Bob White. A complete selection of fine shrimp, butterfly, popcorn, peel and eat, or salad shrimp, combined for a true shrimp lover's feast. And our succulent lobster tail is sure to please even the most discriminating palate.
At Bob White, quality foods cash and carry store, restaurant quality foods at wholesale prices. Walnut and Juliana Streets in West Reading.
When Berks Cable asked for volunteers to deliver Meals on Wheels, my first thought was, my grandmother receives Meals on Wheels from the program in her town. So I became part of the Berks Cable team that delivers meals once a week during the lunchtime. It's a great feeling to know that I can deliver a hot meal to those who have difficulty preparing one for themselves. Although I may not be delivering Meals on Wheels to my grandmother, the Berks Cable team may be delivering to yours.
Halftime in Laureldale with Mike Zielinski. I'm Randy Stevens. First quarter action, we saw a lot of it. With just under 5 minutes into the game, a touchdown by Gerner, an 18-yard run for Hamburg. Ed Heck hit the extra point, and Hamburg got off to a 7-0 lead. But since then, Mike, it has been all Muhlenberg.
Turning point in the game was the punt snap, and Muhlenberg's been very dominant since then. And now we're going to have an opportunity to see the Hamburg halftime band.
Hamburg Marching High School Band leaving the field after an outstanding performance. With the score here at halftime, Muhlenberg 18 and Hamburg 7. We'll be back right after these words for the second half kickoff. Stay with us.
RE/MAX of Reading is a proud sponsor of Berks Cable Scholastic Sports Programming. We are committed to our community and to you. We're working long hours, but our hard work is paying off with more listings than any other realtor in the county. That's important because we know your standards are high, and with an average of 12 years of real estate experience per associate, we can offer new ideas when you're selling your home. Take a step above the crowd with RE/MAX of Reading.
Best selection of used cars and trucks. DM Motors. Whose cars are backed by warranty. DM Motors. Who has financing available with affordable monthly payments. DM Motors. Who's located on the Warren Street bypass. DM Motors.
You're with DM Motors, Warren Street bypass, Reading.
Muhlenberg 18, Hamburg 7. The two teams have returned to the field after a rather lengthy halftime. And Mike, your analysis of the first half.
Actually, the analysis is not very complex. Muhlenberg, power football, the name of the game. Hamburg played very well its first possession, took the lead, but since then it's been all Muhlenberg. Offensively, they've been firing off the ball using their superior strength to just blow Hamburg away. Also, Muhlenberg has thrown the ball well, which gives a nice counterbalance to its running attack. Hamburg early on was throwing the ball very well to the flats and getting some good offensive line play. Muhlenberg started to adjust and kind of stuffed that a little bit in the second period. Hamburg has come close twice to breaking a big play with its passing game, Brady going deep and just missing guys by inches. So it'll be interesting to see. Hamburg, the third period, is going to have to establish a little bit more ball control, get back to a short passing game, try those quick openers, use their trap blocking effectively to try and negate Muhlenberg's strength up front. Muhlenberg, quite frankly, is in the driver's seat. All they have to do is keep doing what they've been doing. Hamburg is going to have to somehow stuff Muhlenberg's inside game. They're going to have to maybe move their linebackers around, get some more support from their secondary people. However, when you do that, it makes you more vulnerable to the pass, and that's why Muhlenberg has such an effective offense, because they can throw for a power team. And not all power teams throw as well. And Kurt Siders obviously has come a long way since the Mifflin game. He has a nice touch, and Matt Sugars gives them a really nice dimension at split end. I really like their offense with him there, Randy, and they still utilize him in the backfield for some key running plays. So right now, John Yoakum has everything going for him. Bill Sikorsky for Hamburg probably had a busy half trying to finagle his X's and O's around and try and get some people where they can stop Muhlenberg.
You mentioned Kurt Siders, the junior quarterback. He doesn't throw very often, but when he does put the ball up in the air, he does so effectively. Witness last week, he only threw the ball 7 times, but he completed 4 passes for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. And it keeps other teams honest. Just the threat that your quarterback is able to throw the ball down the field, you have to play for that particular tendency. And as a result of that, it opens up your ground game even more. And we have seen Muhlenberg thoroughly dominate this first half. That after Hamburg scored the touchdown to open the scoring and led 7-0 early. And one thing that works against the Hawks, they are playing 7 players on both offense and defense. And that has a tendency to wear you down, because by the time you stop your opponent and then go on offense, it takes a little bit out of you, and vice versa. So we'll see if the lack of depth hurts Hamburg here in the second half as they trail it by 18-7.
There's no question about that, especially Muhlenberg being bigger and stronger across the line than Hamburg. It really does put the Hawks in a tough spot.
Ken Kime, the left-footed kicker for Muhlenberg, will boot it away to start the second half. And we are underway. 18-7, Muhlenberg leading it. Muhlenberg quickly getting down to stop Stacy Hoke as he is knocked to the earth at about the 28-yard
Hook
line.
carries to the 28-yard line.
Stacy Hook, an interesting story. He is a quarterback, but Joel Brady's been the quarterback for 3 years, except for some injuries a couple years ago when Hoke got an opportunity to play. Brady has basically been the man. So Hoke has diversified himself. He returns kicks. He does some receiving, and he just wants to play. And it's nice to see a kid get an opportunity like that.
He's a junior, though. He'll be the quarterback next season. Trying to get some yardage to the outside is Jim Gerner, but the Muhlenberg defensive front there to meet him after a short gain.
Gerner had a fast start tonight, some big plays, including a touchdown run. For Hamburg to get some semblance of an offense now, I think they're going to need to rely on Gerner and Weaver and Seaback. They have the guys. It's just a matter of being patient, getting back in this game. I think they're going to need to regain the offensive line execution they had early in this game. Do some trap blocking and get some of those Muhlenberg guys with some angles.
Now, one thing that would help their cause immensely is if they took the second half kickoff and moved in for a touchdown. That would put them within striking distance.
They need to do something, a catalyst, to regain the momentum they showed early on.
2nd down and 8. Play action by Brady's got a man over the middle. That's Eric Syvac. Syvac still on his feet and finally knocked out of bounds, but not before he gets into Muhlenberg territory, knocked out at about the 45-yard line.
That could be the spark that they needed. An excellent pass by Brady. Seaback really did a nice job. He curled across in the middle of the zone on a hook pattern, and then utilizing the running ability we talked about in the first half, turned it upfield, a huge gain, and Hamburg is now in Muhlenberg territory at the 46.
Once again, Brady throwing. This time it is intended for Syvac, and it's incomplete.
Syvac has essentially been their go-to guy in the passing game. Brady looks for him a lot. Unfortunately for Hamburg, Matt Sugars is usually the guy who's shadowing Syvac around, especially when they're throwing to the left side, and Sugars was right there, and Brady's pass was just a little errant. But Hamburg looks like they're willing to throw, and when you're down 18-7 and you're having trouble matching up with a bigger, stronger team, passing is probably the best route to go.
This time they keep the ball on the ground, but not much doing. A pickup of perhaps 2 yards at most to the 43-yard line. The ball carrier, Shane Weaver, the junior.
Although that particular play did not evidence it, if you can get your short passing game working, that will open up your running game. A lot of times you say, well, you have to set up the pass with the run, but it works the other way around, too. And if they can get Muhlenberg a little conscious looking for the passing game, that could enable those quick openers to Weaver and Gerner and Seaback.
Well, a passing situation here. Brady under pressure, gets it away, completes it down close to the first down.
Brady's pass complete
to Weaver.
Weaver.
They spot the ball. Weaver, the man who caught the ball, and we'll see if Hamburg gets a generous spot. It'll be very close. Looks like it'll be about a foot short.
From the Muhlenberg 36-yard line.
Less than a yard.
I think they're going to need a generous spot, as you pointed out, and they didn't get it. One of the things they did last year so well was throw to Tracy Semmel, who was a really outstanding receiver and Brady's go-to guy. Seaback, this year, the back, they're going more to their backs instead of their wideouts this year.
I'm surprised they have not tried to get the ball to the tight end, Jason Walters, more. This is 4th down and 1, and movement in the line. And Hamburg thinks they may have drawn Muhlenberg off sides. If that's the case, it'll be a first down without running a play. And in fact, that is what it is. The ball will be moved to the 31-yard line. Instead of 4th down and a crucial foot to pick up, the offsides penalty gives Hamburg a first down, and indeed they are, Mike, on the move.
This is exactly what they needed to going into the second half, to get something going, to get a little bit momentum back, and so far it has to be encouraging for Bill Sikorsky and his staff.
Brady lost the ball out, but over the wrong shoulder, intended that time for Jim Gerner. Gerner looked one way, then the other way, and the ball was overthrown.
It's a little difficult when you have to change shoulders like he did, look over the opposite shoulder. You lose sight of the ball a little bit, especially in a night game, and it was just a tough situation for Hamburg because they still have a good opportunity here, but you don't want to find yourself in a 2nd and 10 situation. Be interesting if they go with a little bit of a draw here instead of throwing. just to keep Muhlenberg off balance.
Brady wants to throw, going for it all, and it's incomplete. Down around the 5-yard line. It was intended for Weaver.
Third down and 10.
There was good coverage on that play. Ideally, you like your receiver to get that little burst, that little explosion where you can separate your guy, separate from the defender, but it never happened on that play, and there really was no chance for Brady to make that completion. So now it's 3rd and 10, and now what do? They've been effective in the flat. They've also threw some nice hooks or curls down the middle. So we'll see what they do here. They've been going to Sevac most of the time. He might be the go-to guy on this particular play.
You saw a shot of the cheerleaders who were trying to keep themselves warm, something unheard of about a week ago. This ball out there, is it caught? I believe it is, down at the 12-yard line. And what a grab made by Sevac.
That was an outstanding catch by Eric Sevac. He caught it over his shoulder. It's almost like a center fielder going deep, trying to catch a long drive. But this time you have guys running into you instead of the wall. And Joel Brady, we talked about his passing touch, as we're going to get a chance to see this again.
He has a man draped all over him here.
Look at this throw. It is right there, and he makes the catch, and impact, but still it is like running into a wall, but he makes a great catch. Obviously a very talented athlete.
Brady has to run for his life this time. Fires and complete to Weaver. He's inside the 5-yard line. But Brady did a Houdini act just to avoid the rush that time as he got outside and then delivered a perfect strike to Shane Weaver, and Hamburg is on the doorstep.
This has been a watershed drive for Hamburg. Joel Brady's doing a lot of nice things. He's mixing it up. He's throwing to different receivers. They're using different routes. Right now they have Muhlenberg off balance. Brady showing a lot of mobility. He moves well back there, and he has that nice touch, and they really love to throw to their backs who can really make something happen in open spaces.
1st and goal. The ball carrier Weaver, and he's got a touchdown.
Weaver on the carry.
So with 8:12 left to play in the 3rd quarter, Hamburg has cut the deficit now to 18-13. And what an emotional shot in the arm for the Hamburg Hawks.
Well, they've been carrying a lot of emotion with them a long time, and as we see another look at the touchdown, we talked about how the short passing game can open up the running game because you get passing conscious, and it allows your running game to flourish.
And Eddie Heck gets the extra point. That was almost like a soccer kick. And it's now 18-14 Muhlenberg, and suddenly the Hawks back in it. And interestingly enough, Mike, that drive almost a carbon copy of the one early in the 1st quarter. The game started, Hamburg got the ball after holding Muhlenberg. They went right down and scored. And now at the start of the 2nd half, they take the opening kickoff and march it right down.
I think a big key was they went back to the short passing game, which was very effective in the flats. They got some big plays. They used their backs to turn short passes into bigger gains. Maybe they got a little too long ball conscious there for a while. They just missed a couple, and that could be tempting to go to it again. And as we mentioned before, it does open up the running game a little bit. So Hamburg got exactly what it needed. It needed to get the ball and score, and did exactly that. And with their extra point advantage, they're only down 4 points, so a touchdown puts them ahead.
Eddie Hecht, who made the extra point a moment ago, set to kick off. And the ball will be taken there by Fegley. Fegley gets to the outside, still on his feet, and finally wrestled to the earth, getting out just over the 30-yard line. And with 8 minutes and 2 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, Muhlenberg will go on offense for the first time in the 2nd half.
Now what Muhlenberg has to do, Randy, is pretend none of that happened. Just maintain its attack, its game plan, go out and just run the ball, keep the power game going, and supplement it with some passing by Kurt Siders, and just pretend this last drive didn't happen.
Well, they keep the ball on the ground, something they did effectively in the 1st half. Alan Murray, the ball carrier.
Murray on the carry, knocked out of bounds.
He's knocked out of bounds, so 7:42 left to play 3rd quarter, and suddenly we've got a real close game on our hands.
This game had the potential of becoming one-sided. It looked that way in the latter stages of the second period. But Hamburg, as we pointed out, has an experienced offense, and experience has a lot to do with how a team reacts to adversity, and Hamburg's reaction, obviously a very positive one so far.
First down play picked up 4. They keep it on the ground and a couple of yards up the gut. Ball carrier Matt Sugars, who has been used almost everywhere.
This is a guy that takes a lot of snaps in both sides of the ball, and now he's all over the place offensively. This guy obviously is going to deserve a shower after the game.
3rd down and 3 now, and this is a big play for the Hamburg defense. If they can stuff this 3rd down play and make Muhlenberg punt, they could get the ball back.
And it keeps the momentum on Hamburg's side.
And Murray trying to get to the outside. I don't believe he got to the first down marker. Did he fumble the ball? Let's see.
A lot of finger pointing down there, either indicating they held him or a fumble.
I think they indicated that they held him. So you see where they have to get. They're about 2 yards shy. Looking at the far marker, it's 4th down, and Muhlenberg will have to punt. And now Hamburg, a decided underdog in this game, has a chance to get the ball back and maybe take the lead.
Exactly right. A very crucial defensive series for Hamburg.
And there's a bad snap, and Hamburg is going to get an unbelievable break. Mike Rohrback almost fielded that ball like a shortstop. He had it momentarily, then let it get away. And finally, he decided to take off, not thinking he could get the kick away without having it blocked. And Hamburg wrestles him down, and now, at the 32-yard line in Muhlenberg territory, Hamburg has the ball. And here you see the problem that Rohrback had.
He has it, and he just drops it. And a crucial special teams breakdown. He didn't even look upfield to see whether he had an opportunity to punt it, and decided he'd better take the safe route and not risk giving up a touchdown.
Back live, Eric Sivak tries to hit the left side and gets maybe 2 yards on the play. Sivak, who has been used primarily as the heavy hitter out of the backfield tonight for Hamburg, getting 2. It's 2nd down and 8. Midway through the 3rd period, and Hamburg with a chance now to take the lead. Sivak again. He's got room, and suddenly the hole closed down quickly. Picks up about 5 yards on the play.
But before it closed down, he showed a good explosion through the line. A very nice play by Eric Sivak. A huge opportunity, obviously, for Hamburg. Bill Sikorsky must be pinching himself on the sideline. This half has gone perfectly for Hamburg so far. If they can score here, that completely negates the special teams breakdown on the punt snap they had in the first half, and it puts them in the lead.
Brady wants to throw, fires out. It's complete, but shy of the first down by probably about 2 yards. Over there making the catch was Sivak. So Sivak used on the ground, Sivak used through the air. There's another guy who's going to be tired by the end of this long evening.
Eric Sivak and Matt Sugars, obviously. Now, 4th and 3. Could be the play of the game so far. We've had a lot of scoring, but Hamburg needs to capitalize on this opportunity. They cannot allow this to slip through its fingers. I think we're going to see a short pass in the flat. We've seen plenty of it.
Sivak, by the way, is in the slot this time. Brady being forced out of the pocket. It's intercepted. Murray on the interception. So they do not pick up the first down. The ball would have gone over anyway. I think I had said Murray, it's Kurt Siders with the interception. So here's a quarterback playing a little defensive halfback and doing the job.
Well, they did that a lot with Matt Malinowski the last couple of years because he was such an outstanding defensive back. And he reads the play very well. Probably the intuition of a quarterback enables him to read pass routes better than maybe your normal defensive back. Siders is right there, breaks on the ball, beats the receiver to it, a huge turnover. Muhlenberg in a must situation, Hamburg in a must situation, and that was a pivotal play because that was an excellent opportunity for Hamburg. Everything had been going right for 7 minutes in this period for Hamburg, but a big interception by Muhlenberg. The momentum is now shifted to the Laureldale side of the field.
1st and 10 from the 28-yard line, and the Mules keep it on the ground.
Rio on the carry.
Rio with a gain of about 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Still, for the Hamburg Hawks, they have to be happy the way this second half has turned out, and with another defensive stand here, they could get the ball back in fairly good field position.
They have to be fired up. They have to get good run support from their inside backers here. They have to stuff this inside power game. They stole very much in this ball game, especially if they can stop Muhlenberg on this possession.
Siders on the run, and he is dragged down. He was hit hard.
I think there was a face mask, though.
Yeah, usually you don't go down unless that happens. I mean, his head literally, that was a little bit dangerous. And there is the face mask indication against Hamburg. And Siders a little bit shaken up.
Well, that is a very dangerous play, which is why face mask penalties are 15 yards, because the whiplash effect can really take its toll on a guy's neck. You're very vulnerable in that situation, and
that was almost like a cartoon where the body keeps going and the head gets hit.
15-yard penalty will give the Mules first down.
And boy, not only a dangerous play, but a play that is very costly to Hamburg, as the ball will be moved up 15 yards, and looks like it'll be moved just shy of the 50-yard line at the Muhlenberg 49.
Exactly right. Now Muhlenberg has excellent field position.
The ball carrier is Rio.
Rio with the carry.
And that's exactly what Muhlenberg was doing most of the first half, Randy. A simple dive play up the middle. Rio, very big, powerful guy, 6 foot, 200 pounds. Gets that little initial burst through the seam of the hole, and just he's 5 yards in the secondary. And it's a little difficult to bring a guy down, although Rio seems to have gotten the worst of that particular collision as he runs off the field limping somewhat.
Play picked up 7 yards. Can you imagine if Rio ever made it to pro football with Chris Berman on ESPN? Robert, blame it on Rio.
Okay, Chris.
almost too much to bear. Siders to the air, and he's got a completion. And now the Muhlenberg team beginning to move.
Mike
Rohrback, by the way, make the catch.
You know, we've talked a lot about Matt Sugars, but Mike Rohrback is an excellent wingback. He gives them a good passing dimension. And Siders, again, a nice counterpoint to that running game. It's they keep hitting him up in the middle with that sledgehammer, then suddenly they pop a little pass in there, and they picked up 10, 15 yards. So Muhlenberg's offense, not an easy one to defend, and Muhlenberg obviously having trouble with it tonight.
Last year, Muhlenberg with Mike Malinowski, who set an all-time record for passing yardage. And Siders, the ball loose on the ground, and let's see, they say incomplete. No, they say it's a fumble. The ball was completed to number 86, Bruce Strupp, and then he fumbled the ball.
We're going to get a replay of this in slow motion to see how long he had possession. It looked to me as if it should be a fumble. He had it, in my estimation, long enough for it to be a complete pass.
He had already turned up the field, it appeared, and then he lost control of the ball. And what a break for Hamburg, as Muhlenberg's offense was driving.
It's a game of momentum and shifts and turnovers, and we've had special team breakdowns and we've had turnovers, and this has made this game very interesting.
With the ball is Eric Sivak, the all-purpose man, and he gets knocked down, gets a couple of yards. Let's take a look at that last play. You determine if this is a fumble or if it's an incomplete pass.
Okay, the receiver is Bruce Strupp, number 86 on the right side of your screen as we take a look at it again. Siders rolling out, hits him. He has the ball. One step.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know.
I don't know either. We have to get a reverse angle on that. Can the truck get that for us?
We're back live. Sivak again, the ball carrier.
I would like to see another angle on that, because I was convinced he had made the reception. Now I'm not so sure. There's an element of doubt there, and
we can't even begin to tell you at home what they're saying in the truck to Mike, but needless to say, an interesting call, because it appeared as if as he turned he lost the football, but again, a play that could have been called either way.
Yes, it is, and you know, the officials have an instant to react and make the call. It's kind of like a bang-bang play, and it was close enough where it could have went either way.
3rd down and 3, and they keep it on the ground, as making a couple of yards is Shane Weaver, but he does not have the first down. He got a yard at most, and it'll be fourth down at 2.
Gets up a little slowly, too. There's been some good, crisp hitting on both sides of the ball tonight, and both teams, they're coming off big victories. They want their season to really maintain and stay on a positive note, and a big game, as we pointed out, for both teams, and so the hitting has been intense. Hamburg, fortunately for them, gets a turnover, but they're going to have to punt now.
If you're just joining us, we're in the final 20 seconds of the third period. Muhlenberg ahead 18-14. Another pretty good punt and a nice catch made by Jeff Crick, and he is knocked down. Penalty flags go down. What a great play made by number 20, Randy Lesser, a senior, who got down and made a big special teams hit.
A big hit. Crick actually did a very nice job making that catch. We're hoping to get a replay. I'm not really sure what the infraction was there, Randy. I would really like to see it again. We're going to take a look.
Yeah, normally it's going to be a clip, and let's see if we can spot the infraction. There.
No, it was not
there's
there.
The clip
yes,
right
it
here.
is. Absolutely. We're freezing in and right from behind. Yeah. Excellent. We caught the culprit right there in mid-motion. Good work by our camera guys there. We don't need an opposite angle on that one. We got it.
First and 10 for the Mules.
So the good hit made,
15-yard line.
and then a 15-yard mark off for the clip, and that will be the final play of the third period as time has expired. Hamburg has Muhlenberg in the hole. We've got 1 quarter to go. Mike and I will return to Laureldale with the score at the end of 3. Muhlenberg 18 and Hamburg 14.
Bob White, quality foods for over 50 years. Located at Walnut and Juniana Streets in West Reading, invites you to cater yourself with these delicacies from their cash and carry store.
Choose from the widest range of marinated steaks available. A unique marinating process assures a deep, rich taste and mouth-watering quality. Carefully selected, incredibly tender USDA choice.
That's Bob White, quality foods cash and carry store. Restaurant quality foods at wholesale prices. Walnut and Juniana Streets in West Reading.
When you're faced with a decision to buy another car and you want a quick review of the best options around, the video ad channel is the place to start. For an instant update on the newest buys, just tune in, then choose your style. Classic or classy. Country or cool. If you're looking for convenience, economy, performance, or style, then tune in to the video ad channel on the odd hours on Berks Cable Channel 5.
The start of the fourth quarter, 18-14, Muhlenberg over Hamburg. The Mules deep in their own territory, and they keep the ball on the ground. You know, we talked about Hamburg before and the reliance on Malinowski the last several years. Malinowski throwing for almost 3,700 yards in his storied career with the Mules. I think I said Hamburg, with Muhlenberg. Got to keep our Bergs differentiated. And
one has a U, one has an E.
He also threw for 40 touchdowns, and it's awfully hard to replace that. And Kirk Sider's a very different kind of a quarterback, but he's done an outstanding job.
He sure has. He throws the ball very well, and he moves well.
Knocked down after a gain for the Muhlenberg Mules is Mel Fegley. Fegley, who was their leading ball carrier coming into this game. We haven't really seen his number called that much tonight.
No, he has not been the featured back tonight, but he, again, we pointed out, they don't really have a feature back. They can use so many people, much like Hamburg, and they spread the ball around, and consequently, it's very difficult to focus on one guy. It makes it more difficult for the defenses.
First and 10 from the 32-yard line, and again, Rio on the carry, and he, with a second burst, able to pick up 9, very close to a first down.
He is a tough guy, Randy. You know, we saw him walk off the field a little gingerly a few minutes ago after a tough hit, but he's back there putting his head down, and he's a perfect fullback in a system like this where you need a guy. Not only is he a tough runner, but in the power I, that fullback has to be a tough lead blocker, and that's exactly what he is. The lead block in the power I is the crucial block in many plays.
looking for the first down and coming very close that time. The ball carrier, number 41, is Sugars.
Sugars on the carry.
You know, if you are Muhlenberg, not only would you like to go down and score a touchdown, but you would also like to take 5 or 6 minutes off the clock.
Oh, absolutely. And we saw the classic example of ball control last week in the Pottsville-Reading game, where Pottsville went 18 plays, ate up 10 minutes off the clock, and scored the finishing touchdown. And you can't design it or draw it any better than that. And I'm sure John Yoakum would love for Muhlenberg to do just that.
Now, why do you suppose they measured there? That ball was about 1.5 feet past the first down marker. And, well,
maybe they were practicing.
You have to have one measurement per game. I think it's in the rules.
Was there a TV timeout? We didn't go to a break. I don't know.
No, I don't know. I would think the referees might have spotted that, but not so. First down, nevertheless, and Muhlenberg on the roll. And here is Murray, and he's got another first down as he bolts into Hamburg territory to the 47-yard line. And right now you're seeing Muhlenberg beginning to wear the Hamburg front down. And we allude to that early in the game, that with all the guys playing both ways, that Hamburg was susceptible to being worn down. That's what may be happening here.
And Alan Murray, we also talked about his size. You know, he looks a little smaller with that number, but he is 5'11", 185, and he showed evidence that he's a punishing runner on that particular play.
First and 10 from the 47-yard line. First man through gets the football, and to the 45, a pickup of 2.
Rio carries for the Mules.
Rio, the ball carrier. There you see him, number 32.
Second down and 8.
Now, we mentioned Eric Bolts, but also for Muhlenberg, Scott Yeto, who's 5'11", 220, a very tough tackle on the other side of the ball. So Muhlenberg right now it's very contagious. You get aggressive, you start beating your man consistently up front, and you just go out and you expect to beat your man, and you do.
A little bit of a counter play that time as Muhlenberg's Mike Rohrbach carrying the football.
We don't see Muhlenberg counter very often, but when they do, because of the element of surprise, it can be a very effective play. But they're going to be a little bit of a tough spot here, about 3rd and 4, Randy. Although they've been so dominant up front, I suspect that we'll probably see maybe an off-tackle play with Murray.
Muhlenberg at the Hamburg 40-yard line. They lead the game 18-14, 8:45 left to play. They keep the ball on the ground, and Rio just hammering people as he gets to the 35, and he's got another first down for Muhlenberg.
If you love power football, it's fun to watch him. He just gets the ball, and it's just muscle, put your head down, and bang some bodies and fall forward. And he's doing it consistently. He's getting a lot of help from his offensive linemen in the trenches, but he is a classic lead blocker. We saw a lot of that last year with Wilson and Jeff Stump, and Rio reminds me a lot of Stump.
Now, they're not only killing the clock, but they are really psychologically defeating Hamburg. Here's a sweep, and again, another good pickup. Ball carrier that time is Fegley, so one man not doing it here. It's a number of people. We've seen Rohrbach, we've seen Rio, that time Fegley.
Yeah, and that's, again, we talked about the Muhlenberg offense where it gives you different looks, and you have to maintain your position on so many different things, the perimeter, the inside game, obviously, and they're so run-conscious up the middle that when you put Murray on the flank, and with his speed, he's going to turn upfield, and that's exactly what he did.
Play picked up 7, second down and 3. The ball carrier Sugars, he's got another Mules first down. Now, right now, this game beginning to slip away from Hamburg. They have to think sooner or later about stopping Muhlenberg, getting the ball back. If Muhlenberg scores here, it would be awfully tough.
There's no question about that, Randy. Hamburg has played a very inspired game. I've been impressed with them. Whether they win or lose, as we pointed out, they seem to be for real. Obviously, a very crucial situation for them now. They have to stop Muhlenberg.
First and 10 from the 19. Rio with the football, and he's finally going to be dragged down on the tackle that time for Hamburg. Number 33, one of their two-way performers, Jim Gerner, as he roped down Rio. There you see
Yeah,
Rio.
look at him. He looks like a fullback, doesn't he? He has that look of intensity. He looks rock-ribbed, and he has just that look of a warrior about him. which is what I think gives football that kind of special element, that special flavor. And
now, you know that when you're keeping the ball on the ground and you're picking up 7, 8, 9 yards on a first down play, that you're going to be awfully hard-pressed to stop them. And that play picked up 8 yards, almost 9. It'll be second down and a long yard for another Mules first down. Ball at the 10-yard line. And straight ahead is Sugars.
Muhlenberg is just really firing out on the ball now. They are just knocking people backwards, and their backs are just slicing through those holes. Everything is going for them. They're dictating the tempo now. They are really, and Hamburg is doing a smart thing right now, Randy. They're calling timeout. They want to just regroup a little bit as we see Muhlenberg's stands there.
Even the band is into it right now. There's just a certain body language as you watch the game, as the Muhlenberg kids just know what they're doing, and there's a tremendous amount of confidence. A drive like this where you just stuff the ball down the other team's throat certainly gives you that confidence. There's nothing more than for linemen than to get that feeling that you're knocking people 5 and 6 yards off the ball. And
oh, yes.
There you see Muhlenberg. It's a lot different than pass blocking, where you are basically in more of a passive position.
Here you can attack people, and it's exactly what they're doing. We see John Yoakum talking to his team. Number 64 is Tony Leone. We've talked about their tackles, Eric Bolts and Scott Yeto. Tony Leone is an excellent guard for Muhlenberg, and one of the reasons why the Mules have been so successful running the ball this season. As we said, even in their opening game, which they lost, they were very impressive running the football.
Now, right now, it's do or die time for the Hamburg defense. They keep the ball on the ground. Sugars looking for the end zone and finally gets knocked down. He's inside the 5-yard line, and again, Hamburg, who has not scored. In fact, we've only had one score in the second half. Hamburg took the opening kickoff and marched down for a touchdown. That made it 18-14.
You know, another guy we should talk about, Randy, who's played very well up front for Muhlenberg is their center, Matt Pizzo. Again, we mentioned that he is going up against Ed Amadero, probably the premier nose guard in the county. So Matt Pizzo also having a very big game up front for Muhlenberg.
Siders keeps the football. He has a touchdown. And that may do it. 6:03 left to play. Siders with his second touchdown of the night.
Right up the middle again, the explosion off the ball. And we're going to hopefully get a look at this again as Kurt Siders perhaps has put the finishing touches on this game. Here we have it, Randy. Siders, and look at the size of that hole. All he really had to do was fall forward into the end zone, and Muhlenberg has seized control of this game. As it's 24-14, and one of the few things that Muhlenberg has not done consistently well tonight, Randy, is their extra point conversions. They missed the first one on the placement. They've been going for 2 points.
Yeah, they haven't done it well. They haven't made one yet.
And so it'd be interesting to see if they go for 1 or 2 here.
One of the things about failing to convert,
they're going to go for 1.
And they'll give it a shot. One of the things about failing to convert on the conversions is it keeps Hamburg in the game. A field goal and a touchdown could do it. And keep in mind, Hamburg has a pretty good kicker in Eddie Heck.
Yeah, very good point.
Here's the extra point attempt by number 42, Bruce Folk. And the kick is good, but flags down all over the place. And I think the flags were actually thrown right after the snap.
Yes.
So the play is dead regardless. And we'll see what the infraction is here.
Yeah, we don't want to be premature, Randy. We talked about perhaps that put the finishing touches on the game. But, you know, in fact, there are 6 minutes left in this game. Hamburg has played very inspired football offensively and defensively. And Muhlenberg's problems with extra points continues. It was illegal procedure on them, and they're going to have to re-kick it or rethink it, one or the other.
I think that's a good point that you made. We don't want to bury Hamburg prematurely. After all, after getting the initial touchdown in the game, they had to withstand 3 TDs in a row by Muhlenberg and came back smartly. So there's not a whole lot of quitting these kids from Hamburg, and this game not over just yet.
No. See how they do an extra point?
No good.
I think they're going to be practicing their extra point a little bit on Monday.
Nevertheless, Muhlenberg has moved out to a 10-point lead. 6:03 left to play here in the ball game, and Muhlenberg leading Hamburg 24-14.
And as you pointed out, a field goal and a touchdown with a 2-point conversion, and Hamburg wins. So there's plenty of time. Hamburg has really shown, I think, a lot of heart coming back. They had a bad second period. Some teams may have kind of like cashed in their chips at halftime, but the Hawks came out, fired out. They have done very well offensively and defensively. Their offense, they have a lot of tools. Their short passing game, when it's effective with their backs in the flat, can really open up some big gains, and they can counterpunch with some good inside running by some of their backs like Jim Turner. As we pointed out earlier, they have the wing tee and they have a lot of trap blocking schemes.
Now the ball taken by one of the deep men, and look out, on the loose is Eric Sivak. He's got the ball back up to about the 35-yard line. Less than 6 minutes to go in the game, and Hamburg has their work cut out for them. Joel Brady is going to have to engineer at least 2 drives, and it's going to be a tall order against this Muhlenberg defense, which probably knows up front he has to go to the air, and that gives the defensive lineman a chance to tee off a little bit.
Yeah, it does, and that puts Joel in a tough spot, but as Bill Sikorsky said, it's a luxury having a 3-year starter quarterback, and that's exactly what he has in Joel Brady.
Well, they haven't sacked Brady all night. That time he throws a one-hopper. As a pass incomplete, it'll be 2nd and 10.
Muhlenberg had a good pass rush, and Brady, trying to get rid of the ball, as you said, kind of short-hopped it. They're going to need some quick plays. I don't think they can afford to throw long because the percentage is too low. They have to establish possession, and also by doing that, they allow Muhlenberg more time for the pass rush to get to Brady.
Now their safeties about 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, Siders and Becker. They are throwing long, and a man is open, but it's incomplete to Eric Sivak. Siders came over there to knock him out of bounds. 3rd down and 10.
I think that kind of shows you what kind of athlete Kurt Siders is for Muhlenberg, because as John Yoakum pointed out last year with Malinowski, the only reason why he's playing defense is because he's so good. And because you usually don't want to risk your quarterback in that kind of position, especially if you're a platoon team, as Muhlenberg is. So Kurt Siders playing a very good game in the secondary for Muhlenberg tonight.
This is a big play right here. Hamburg needs to continue this drive. They'll try to get it by going up top. They throw over the middle. The ball is intercepted. Intercepted by Alan Murray. Murray's still on his feet. He is back to the 30-yard line. And now the whole complexion has changed. Muhlenberg will take over in Hamburg territory. And that may have taken all the air out of the Hamburg balloon. We'll take another look. I don't think that Brady ever saw Alan Murray.
As we see Brady going back, and obviously not, he was underneath coverage. He was trying. Look at that. You know, he really moves well, 3rd and 4th, and he's another guy who goes both ways, so obviously a very skilled player. The go-to guy in that pass was Eric Sivak, but Murray read the play well, and Brady never did see him, it appeared.
Now, Murray being used quite frequently after intercepting and making a nice run back, he carries again. And the first down play goes for nothing. No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and 10. And now you're going to have to keep an eye on the clock. 4:48 left to play. Coming off the field there, number 77, that's Jell Mills, a senior tackle.
Hamburg's going to have to really get a lot of pursuit here. They're going to have to put a lot of bodies on the ball. Some guys going for the tackle, other guys trying to knock the ball loose. They need to force a turnover.
Now they keep the ball on the ground, and on the carry that time, number 21, Mike Rohrback on that counter play. The play picks up about 2 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
Now, we've mentioned all their linemen. I would be remiss if we didn't mention Ryan Schaefer, who is the other lineman for Muhlenberg up front, a junior guard, another guy with nice size, 6'1", 220. So you see why Muhlenberg has been so successful. They have the guys up front. They're big, they're strong, they move people.
Clock is running. We are under 4 minutes left to play in the ball game. 24-14 Muhlenberg. Siders with the football, and he is finally going to be wrestled out of bounds over on that far side, but he's to the 10-yard line.
On the carry, knocked out of bounds.
Hamburg looks like they're being worn down right now defensively.
There's no question about that at this juncture of the game.
First and 10 for the Mules.
About the only thing that didn't work on that play for Muhlenberg is Siders knocked out of bounds. That stops the clock.
Yeah, but that's a minor point, I think, although a valid point. But they're so dominant right now, I think it's going to take almost two huge miracles for Hamburg to come back. And